At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu. At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu. At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Okay. Can you start a podcast with me, please? I need something to do.
Pasternak sent it out in front, promote to the save, they score! Elias Lindholm looks to the heavens.
Here's a chance, Potter right in and goal, he scores. Oh my, what a move by the rookie. 2-on-1, Pasternak moving in with Marchand, get it to it, score!
The zone, Coyle dances in, backhand, score!
Lindholm right wing corner, Pasternak is there, he scores! David Pasternak wins it for Boston!
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Bruins Tape to Tape. I'll be your co-host tonight. I am Maria from Watertown, and we have significant cause for celebration tonight, and two reasons for celebration. One is that we are celebrating our 100th episode together, Caroline, and I can't believe that you've been able to put up with me for 100 episodes. You just deserve a purple heart, my friend. And
oh, thank you, Maria. It was easy. I mean, we've had
celebrating with the special guest, which we will introduce shortly. But honestly, it's been such a blast doing this with you. Who knew that, just a couple of conversations by email and Discord and saying, why the hell not? Why can't we do our own podcast?
Exactly. We know what we're talking about. We may be two broads, but that doesn't mean anything when it comes to Boston Bruins hockey. And before you introduce our special guest, because folks who aren't watching, I just have to show you, Maria, because this came in the mail today. We launched our merch store. It's too hot to wear right now, but I tell you, you'll be seeing this if you watch it on YouTube in the winter. But I got my sweatshirt.
Nice.
As always, go Bees.
So 100 episodes and we have our own swag.
And, we have our own swag. Can you believe it?
At the sake of getting too sappy, because we're not those kinds of girls, but I want to just thank you for all the time, effort, and energy that you, my friend Caroline, spend on our little podcast venture. So,
of course. And I want to thank our listeners because we wouldn't be here without them for 100 episodes. So thank you so much for
my bad. Yeah. And we've got some really cool people that have been consistently rooting for us and supporting us, and special friends. And we thank you all. Thank you so much. And you're looking forward to another 100 episodes if people can stand us, right?
Well,
but without further ado, I want to introduce our special guest tonight. We have joining us for our 100th episode, Gayle Troiani. Gayle is had a numerous experience covering hockey, and I will let her speak to her expertise. But Gayle is now you're pretty much doing a great deal of writing for on Substack and WordPress.
Yeah.
You're covering the Bruins, you're covering the Fleet. Any other groups that you're covering?
Eventually I'm going to get into Hockey East, but for now there's so much going on in the off season with the Bruins and the PWHL with, the draft for both leagues and then the free agency and especially the PWHL that they had the expansion.
Oh,
So
yeah.
their roster got gutted and
Got it.
then
Right.
Courtney Kessel left to go back to Princeton. So they're in search of an assistant GM because their assistant GM, Megan, went to take over Seattle. And now they need a new head coach and obviously a new captain because Hillary Knight's gone. So there's a lot going on in those two franchises. So I'm kind of focusing on them. But I will eventually branch out more to Hockey East. And then I want to get a pulse on the regular NHL too and the regular PWHL, not just the Boston franchises. But for now, that's my focus because it's where I'm tapped into as well.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your professional journey to, getting you to where you are right now? Because, we talked a little bit off air and, for us to have someone who is a credentialed member of the media, I don't know, it's pretty flattering that you gave us, you're giving us your time to come on this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I first of all, thank you for asking me to come on. I'm always willing to support anyone that wants to talk hockey, first of all, and especially when it's women, because we have to support each other. We have to lift we have to lift each other up and support each other. And so my journey is a little bit different. I didn't go to college right out of high school. I grew up a huge sports fan. I know you read
I did, yeah.
My Bruins fandom when I worked for NESN. During the centennial season, they asked me to write how I became a Bruins fan, something to tap me into those black and gold connections is what they called it. And, I grew up, both my parents, my mom worked nights and weekends and my dad worked during the day, Monday through Friday. So we were always with one of our parents. My dad was, he still is, a huge sports fan. And so every Saturday we would go to his friend's house and I'd be planted right in between him and his friends, watching whatever sporting event, whether it would be hockey or basketball. I mean, I grew up watching, I'm going to age myself. I grew up watching Larry Bird and Robert Parrish, watching the Celtics in the 80s. And,
God, those were the days, huh? Those were the days.
And my dad was, he was just, I grew up a daddy's girl watching sports. And so I wanted to marry my two passions, which was writing and sports. So when I decided to go to journalism school, my focus was, to write sports. And the first opportunity I really got was when I was at Northeastern. I covered the women's hockey team. And so that was my first thing. And it was funny because the sports editor was like, all right, you're getting too analytical. Just tell them how the game went. And I'm like, but no, I want to talk about hockey,
Yeah.
So, and then I worked for the Lowell Sun for a little while.
Oh, nice.
And when I worked for the Lowell Sun was back when the Lowell Devils. So it was the last year of the Lock Monsters and then the Lowell Devils started. And ironically, the first preseason game when the Devils took over at the Songness Arena was the Devils and the Bruins. And the Bruins were the away team because it was the Devils' home team. Home rink. And so there were so many members of the press there. And this was when Dave Lewis was the coach of the Bruins.
Oh, God. We
Coach
tried
Lee
to
was
erase
coach
that
of the
time.
Devils.
Wow.
So, so that was interesting. It was the year coming out of the lockout. So it was Chara's first season. So I got to, although I wasn't a sports writer for the Sun, they did use me to cover the Lowell Devils a lot. And so then that turned into a little bit more writing about hockey. They gave me my first hockey blog. So I wrote on their website for their hockey blog. And then we covered more the local stuff more than the Bruins because we had a hockey team in our backyard. So, and then I moved to California and couldn't find a job in journalism. So kind of, had my family and started raising my children, and the opportunity at NESN came up. Well, I started working freelance And then I built a relationship with the Bruins alumni. And then I got the opportunity at NESN, and it really gave me the opportunity to build relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did I build a relationship with the Bruins alumni, I built a relationship with the Bruins PR team. So I'm still, even though NESN has outsourced their website now to a freelance company, the Bruins have kept me on their media credential list. The PWHL has kept me on their media credential list because I built a really good relationship with the fleet and with the PWHL PR group. So it helps to build those professional relationships. And when I say professional relationships, you don't necessarily have to be a member of mainstream media to build those relationships. You just have to see who you interact with and see how you conduct yourselves when you're in those areas, and make sure that you ask the right questions. When I first started working for NESN, building a relationship with the Bruins media was also asking questions, how do we do this? How do we do that? Instead of just assuming that I knew it all just because I had done it in the past. So by asking those questions and building the professional relationship.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Riley Herbst from 2311 Racing here, and you know what grinds my gears? Waiting for coffee. But instead of counting frappes and lattes, I fire up Chumba Casino. No apps, no fuss, just fun social casino games to pass the time. By the time my coffee's ready,
Order for Riley.
I've already taken a few victory laps. Next time you're stuck waiting, make it entertaining. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
It allowed me to launch my own Substack and my own WordPress Troiani Report, so that I
love that name, by the way.
I
think it's really
it took me forever to come up with a name. I had like something with puck in it. I had but I didn't want it to just be like black and gold or Bruins, because I knew I was going to do PWHL as well. So I figured, where does hockey get played? At a rink. So here we are.
Yeah, great. No, very appropriate.
And then it allows me to do things like this, to talk to other hockey fans and build those relationships. And Chris and I built a partnership on What's Bruins since Dom has taken some time off. And when Dom's ready to come back, it'll probably be the three of us. I don't plan on, I don't think that Chris wants me to go anywhere. And, before Dom took his time off, with the three of us, we're doing it together. So I think we'll continue to grow that. And Chris is trying to grow his website, and, and it's all about the hockey community is such a family. You just want to building each other up instead of tearing each other down.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of the tearing down, or we haven't experienced it, thankfully. And I appreciate that. We've got a lot of folks, even from, the NESN family who, Billy Jaffe did us a solid.
Last year.
Was it last summer? And
last September he came on the show. Yeah.
I love Jaffe.
Summertime off, and he went out of his way to do an episode with us, and you don't forget things like that.
Yeah.
No, and these guys, I got to know Jaffe fairly well working at NESN, because when the Bruins are on the road, he's in studio, you know. So I mean, when you're at the games, they're on the 5th floor, we're on the 9th floor. So I didn't get to see him at home games, but at away games, there were times where, and I would go through the producer. I wouldn't go directly to him. I would go to the producer and say, hey, can you ask Billy? Can you ask Barry? Can you ask Raycroft? I got a couple of questions. When would be the good time? Can I come down and talk to them when they're in the green room? Because, when they're on air, they're not going to answer my questions. But during intermission, they're on air. So is it right at the beginning of the period, or Do you want to do it, do you want to do it in the middle? Like, how do you want to do that? And so that was another thing of building those relationships.
Yeah.
The Bruins
just
producers.
goes to show hockey people are good people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just good people.
Yeah. Every time I come across somebody who mentions even the word hockey a little bit, I'm like, all right, we're talking. What do you want to talk about? Who do you want to talk about? I'll talk about anything. If it's not the Bruins, that's okay. I just want to talk about it because, like, I don't know. I never hear enough people talking about it, so I'm always dialed in.
And I have a different job outside of this, and everyone in the office, everyone that works for the firm, is like, all right, anything the Bruins do, they're like, all right, Gayle, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
And and I've only been there like a month, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll be your resident Bruins person.
It's funny you say that because I just recently retired, but at the company that I was at, right, I had a little bit of a reputation as being, a hockey fan. Then they heard about the podcast, same thing. So what do you think about this deal?
Well, congratulations
really know
on
the
your
truth?
Retirement. Yeah, right?
Yeah, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Fortunately,
thing.
I live in
highly
New York.
recommend it.
Unfortunately, I live in New York State, so no one's ever asked me about the Bruins. Instead, they just start talking about the Rangers, and I'm like, look, I'm not getting into that can of worms. That's worse than our situation, okay?
But you still have the hockey knowledge to back it up.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you could open that can of worms.
Oh yeah, no. We have thoughts. One of our segments that we do during the regular season is we take what we call as a spin around the rink, right? There's news that breaks and we share our, thoughts and opinions on said news or, the supplemental discipline and the way that it's handed out or not handed out.
In many lack of.
Yeah. In many instances, that's a whole episode. That's a whole nother episode.
Absolutely.
And you and I had a little interesting exchange. I don't know if you remember this, but you had made a post on X to the effect of something having to do with why Bruins goaltenders take so much heat.
Oh,
in the city of Boston or become.
It amazes me that Bruins fans hate their goaltenders.
And my response to you was that I had a very strong opinion and theory as to why that happens. And I think some of it has been generated by a certain sports talk radio show in Boston that, would have run Tuukka Rask out of town on a rail if they could have. And then when Tuukka was gone, they have now set their sights on Jeremy Swayman. If it wasn't Swayman, it was Ullmark. So I think a lot of it is driven by, the opinions of these people. And they're very intelligent people. They pay attention to sports. They cover sports. They're watching all these games.
Sure they're intelligent.
Well, but I think sometimes there's that theatrical factor where they're like, just say something crazy because that's going to rile everybody up.
Clicks and views and listens and what have you. Yeah.
I hate clickbait.
No,
that is not my writing style. I don't like clickbait at all.
No, because there has to be some validity. To what you're writing, right? Well, there needs to be validity, not just some. There needs to be validity. When you're writing something, you're posting it, you're putting it to press, it's in black and white.
Yep.
But then there are instances where you're like, why would you even write this? Where are your, where's the backup for this?
Right.
Yeah. And you can tell when someone's just throwing something out there against the wall to see if it sticks and how many people pick up on it. So I do agree with you. I just don't understand why the goaltenders are the ones that get pretty beat up in the city of Boston on a regular recurring basis. I don't know if it's the money, and because it's the money, you're expecting goalies to be Vezina caliber night after night after night.
Well, the Bruins have notoriously, as long as I can remember, and we're going way back, right? They've always built their teams from the back end out. They've always started with their goaltending.
Who said that before?
Then their defense, and then their offense, right? And they're still doing that.
And they're still
doing that.
Yes.
And they've 9 times out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10, the back end is solid,
Yeah.
Last year to me was a fluke. And I don't care. People can tell me I'm dumb. People can tell me I'm stupid. I 100% believe that Jeremy Swayman is going to be dialed in.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to 100% have a bounce back season. And he's going to push for the Vezina this year. The
100%.
reason why I think that is because, one, he missed all of training camp last year.
Yes.
I don't care that he saw pucks at BU. That's not the same. It's really not the same.
And you know what, Gayle? Even if he was at training camp, given what we had heard about the lack of structure at training camp,
right?
Would it have made any difference if he was at training camp? I don't know.
No.
Well, and especially even if he went and he didn't have his contract, like him sitting out because he didn't have his contract, which don't get me started on that because I still don't even 100%. I don't blame Jeremy Swayman for that.
No,
and, and I know a lot of people do, but I blame his agent. And knowing who his agent is and how he did it to William Nylander, how he did it to Johnny Gaudreau, God
rest his soul. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's done it to every single one of his clients. So it's not like it wasn't Swayman. And yes, Swayman was right. He was resetting the market.
Yeah.
Just like Pasternak reset the market for forwards. And then when Nylander finally signed his contract, he reset the market again. But Swayman was resetting the market.
Sure.
And as a goaltender or any athlete, if you have the opportunity to do that, you're going to do it.
Yes.
I don't have any respect for his agent, and that's just my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for the Bruins. I'm not speaking for NESN. I'm not speaking for anyone else. My co-host, no one. I'm speaking for me.
Yep.
Swayman, right before Christmas, right before that Christmas break, the Bruins went on that run, and he was so solid in net. And then he had the break. And then from the Christmas break, they went into the Four Nations, and he didn't see any game time in Four Nations either. Right. I was surprised he didn't at least get a period. He got nothing at Four Nations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, down the stretch.
When we started writing our thoughts down on paper, it opened up endless possibilities. Ideas could grow beyond the borders of the mind, and it changed the world. Somewhere along the way, we lost touch with paper, distracted by devices made for every purpose except for thinking and focus. On edge, waiting for the next notification. But what if new technology didn't pull us away from paper, but brought us closer to it? Listen. That's not paper. It's the sound of the new Remarkable Paper Pro, rewriting the future. A paper tablet with a true color ink display, gentle reading light, and unheard of tactility. With digital features for taking notes, thinking, and organizing, without any distractions. Paper is about to change the world again. Get your paper tablet at remarkable.com today.
Elias Lindholm is healthy. They're playing a little bit better. Were they playing great? No, we all knew they weren't going to do anything. But you saw the offense, at least that one line was clicking a little bit more.
Finally, the chemistry.
You saw some of the prospects step up and at least learn the system a little bit.
Yeah.
You saw a little bit. And they were small sample sizes, right? Because it was after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Then Swayman went to Worlds.
Oh, my God. It was amazing.
And he took that net.
Yeah.
He wasn't the starter.
Absolutely did.
He took that net. He did what he did to Allmark the year before.
Yes.
When he took the net from Allmark. Last year, coming into this season, he's going to be so laser focused. Basically saying, I'm going to prove all my haters wrong. I'm going to shut everyone up. And he's going to be the goaltender that stole the net from Allmark and stole the net in Worlds.
Yes.
That's going to be the goaltender that we're going to see.
I do agree with you. I'm not a fan of the guy, the agent. I think he's just, whatever.
Yes,
God
we've
bless.
we've
I mean,
we've
you know,
uh,
as
we've
much as
railed
I
against him.
guys sign with guys like this. What I think, and I hope this was a lesson learned by the young Mr. Swayman, were a couple of the remarks that he made that I think he would maybe like to walk back. One of which was the, I understand the cap, and I'm taking business classes at the university. Those are things that you want to have that conversation with your agent. That's great.
But you know what, though? That was on a random podcast, right?
I know.
That wasn't even on a mainstream hockey podcast. That was on a random podcast. Because I wrote the story. You know what I mean? I remember watching that podcast. It was outside the Garden. It was just this random podcast.
Yep.
And the thing about it is that he's not wrong.
Sure. Yeah.
But where there was this battle because the Bruins, one thing if you follow the Bruins, which you ladies do, Don Sweeney never puts his players in a position to make them look bad when it comes to contracts. He still hasn't divulged. Everyone is talking about what the Bruins offered Brad Marchand. The Bruins have never said.
They never will.
And they never
will.
They never will. Because Don Sweeney is not going to put a player in a position, as a former player himself.
Cam Neely will.
Cam Neely
will. We have opinions on him.
I love Cam Neely for what he said because I was there when he said, I have 10 million reasons. The fact that if he hadn't have said that, I'm not sure Swayman would have gotten signed before opening night. That put it out there because Sweeney will never say, he's never divulged what they offered Jake DeBrusk.
Right.
He's never divulged what teams offered for Tyler Seguin or, that's just not Don Sweeney. He's not going to put it on the player. He'd rather take the heat. And you got to respect that as a player. You may not respect it as a fan. You may not respect it as an agent. You may not respect it as a member of the media. But as a player, knowing that the GM is not going to throw you under the bus to make himself look better. Yeah. Because he's getting blamed for Brad Marchand. He's getting blamed for Jeremy Swayman. He's getting blamed for Jake DeBrusk. He's getting blamed for everything. But we don't know what Jake DeBrusk really was asking for.
Right.
When it came to the Bruins.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an interesting perspective because my opinion, and again, it's just an opinion. It's not based on any facts, is, I find them to be not as above board in negotiating contracts with players as maybe I think they should be as management.
But what do you mean by above board? But what do you mean?
I think, I don't want to say dirty pool, but the remark that Cam Neely made about we gave him 64 million reasons.
But that's the only time that Cam Neely has said something in public like that. And it's because the direct question was to Don Sweeney, you know what I mean? About why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? So Cam Neely finally was like, you know what? We gave him, you know what I mean? Because the rumors were out there that he was asking for this and the Bruins lowballed him at this. So Cam Neely was basically like, you know what? You're making us look bad. This is what I'm saying. Now, it was calculated. It was calculated for him to say it at that exact time. And Sweeney kind of I was at the press conference and Sweeney kind of looked like, did he really just say that? Because they don't divulge that information.
Yeah.
Now, we can speculate what the Bruins offered Brad Marchand. We can speculate what the Bruins offered Swayman until he actually signed the deal. We can speculate what they may have offered David Pastrnak before he signed his 8x8. You know what I mean? we don't know the negotiations back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how long he was negotiating with Morgan Geeky's team before he signed his contract. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But one thing I will say is no one complains about Sweeney when he was able to bring back Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci to build that, you know what I mean? To build that team, because they were both, I mean, first of all, David Krejci was
left.
He left. He had retired.
Left.
And we've given him his just desserts. That, you know, there were the trade deadline acquisitions that year that they went all in, and you know, everyone, including us, was giving him credit for going out and making those deals. And you know, we're fans and we're part. You know, so we reserve the right to you know, change our mind on things of that nature.
Sure.
I just wonder how, when you're the player that's in the thick of that, and you hear that you're the president of the team just throw that out there.
Do you want my honest opinion?
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't think Swayman knew that deal was on the table.
I agree.
His agent brought that deal to the table. And because Nylander made the comment at one point that he didn't know what all the offers that Toronto made.
Yes.
I don't believe that Swayman knew all the offers the Bruins were making. I believe that
he's
these
not
players. These players,
he's breaching his fiduciary duty, as far as I'm concerned,
right?
Because he is required, as an attorney and as an agent, to bring every deal to his.
But
or her
a lot
client.
of the players say, negotiate on my behalf. I give you my property.
They forfeit.
Forfeit that they don't have to take a phone call every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't believe that Swayman knew all the deals that were on the table.
Yeah.
And by nearly doing that, it forced the agent to say, all right, this deal's on the table. That's my just from the conversations that Nylander had in the past, the conversations that Johnny Gaudreau had in the past. That agent is notoriously known for not divulging all of the deals.
No, and we had talked about that because I had done some research about, you know, that this guy and some of the other interesting negotiations that he had been involved in. And I remember when Cam said that, I remember saying to myself, I can't believe he just freaking said that. Like, that's not going to land.
You could tell that he was pissed off about
that's not going to land well.
He was pissed off that he had to be there for the conversation because there'd already been press conferences with Sweeney. And it's kind of like, okay, here, you know, to use the trope. Okay, mom's telling you got to go clean your room. Nobody's listening to mom. Well, now here's dad. And dad's like, clean your goddamn room. And everyone's like, holy shit, what just happened?
And Cam Neely, being the bad guy in that scenario, took the heat off of Sweeney as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Sweeney was not divulging anything.
Yeah.
Even in that press conference, he was holding everything close to the chest.
Yeah.
And Cam Neely was basically like, I've had enough of this.
Yeah. Yeah. He just kind of exploded.
Yeah.
Were you at the season ending press conference? Because
this year,
that seemed to, I would have loved to have been there because that was probably one of the most,
I was screaming.
One of the most contentious press conferences that I've seen the Bruins have to do with the locally assembled media. Like, there was some really pointed, direct, and hard questions. And it seemed to me that either they weren't prepared or they were dumbfounded by the fact that, you know, the local media was really holding their feet to the fire after the terrible way things went last season.
I was impressed by how the local media, because I certainly wasn't expecting it. Because I don't know if people want to, you know, pander to them so that they keep getting invited back, you know, or what have you. But I mean, I am the optimistic one of the two of us, right? I tend to find, you know, like, yes, this is terrible, but let's think about it from this perspective or try to understand it from another angle or whatever. Gayle, I came with notes and I was shaking them at the screen people who have been listeners for a while now, they're like, I've never heard you like this before. And I was like, because I was so angry.
She was
so
angrier than I was. I was pretty, I was really pissed off at Don Sweeney for the condescending remark he made to, was it Tara Sullivan?
No, I
And
thought
she
that was
asked
Cam.
about.
Well, regardless.
No, I think it was Don when asked the question about, given that they've, fired 3 coaches.
Oh, why would someone want to coach the Bruins?
Why would anyone?
Why wouldn't you? Right.
Yeah, right. I thought that was a little bit snarky and condescending, and I thought it's a legitimate question that you have to answer for.
Right now.
It is a legitimate question, but it's also a legitimate answer.
True.
Who wouldn't jump at the chance to coach the original 6 franchise?
No. But it's absent of the current context of the team, because I think it was, again, we are completely not insiders. We're as outside as you possibly be. But even we could tell just how bad the work environment was post trade deadline. Like, so why would you want to be there right now?
So part of it, though, it started before then. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we knew that.
Oh, no, you guys know that. It started at the beginning. It started when they couldn't extend Jim Montgomery.
Correct.
Yes.
And nothing honestly, nothing good happens with a lame duck, right?
Like, he didn't want to be there. You could tell. You could tell when the way he carried himself at the beginning of the season compared to the first season when they had this historic run. You could see the difference.
He was beaten down. Like, he looked like a beaten down.
He also knew that St. Louis was going to be there.
Oh, yeah. He checked out.
If the Bruins didn't fire him, he was still going to be in St. Louis at the end of the season. Like, he was still going to be in St. Louis. There was there's no way around that. He was going. He was going home. He was going to St. Louis.
Yes. Yeah.
But then you couple that with the fact that he didn't really want to be there. They got off to a horrible start. Part of that is because the black cloud that was Jeremy Swayman. Then they fire him. They bring in Sacco. Always coaching change. You go on a run, right?
Sure.
And they come back down to earth. Then they get a little bit better. And then Hampus Lindholm goes down. And then
Charlie McAvoy.
And then Charlie McAvoy. We knew Elias wasn't 100%, but we didn't know until
the end.
Until breakup day that it was his back. Had anyone known that it was his back, they probably would have cut him a little bit more slack. He had no business being on that top line at the beginning of the season with a back injury. You know what I mean? So, and I think that Sacco, even though he had been in the organization for like 11 years, I think he was nervous to put certain players together. I think he was like, I'm just going to leave it status quo, because if I do what Montgomery did, which was not keep his lines together, then he was just trying to tread water. You know what I mean?
Not get fired.
Right. And in all honesty, he's not the right coach. Regardless of if they had won or not, he wasn't the right coach.
No, I think we all had general agreement, those of us that, talk on this pod and amongst each other.
Yeah.
I think that was the general consensus, is that.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
He wouldn't have been the right coach.
He wouldn't have been the right fit going forward. He really
forward.
And it's sad that he left but of course he's got to leave the organization. How do you go from interim head coach to back to associate? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of the fact that he's with Mike Sullivan now. Good luck. I mean, I love Mike Sullivan, so I was mad when the Bruins fired him back, coming out of the lockout, because they screwed him.
Yeah.
They came out of the lockout. They didn't have Brian Ralston anymore. They didn't have Mike Knuble anymore. I mean, wow, I'm aging myself again. But coming out of that lockout, when they fired Mike Sullivan, then they brought in Dave Lewis. I mean, so it was like, hello, what are we doing? Yeah. I'm so glad Dave Lewis only lasted 1 year. Nothing again. I mean, I met him. I worked for the Sun then, and I met him, and he was a great interview. He was a really nice guy and whatever. But bringing in Claude Julien was the right thing to do after that.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't a player's coach. I just talk about being kind of unable to relate to players and the way he was trying to conduct the team and run the team. You got to move forward. You can't go back to how you used to.
So speaking of players, coaches, and going back to the question about who wants to coach the Bruins with the track record of so Claude Julien was there how many seasons before he was let go? You can't really. I mean, you can't count just because Don Sweeney is the one that fired him. How do you blame that on Don Sweeney? You know what I mean? Like, he literally, they won the Stanley Cup in 2011. He got them back to the Cup in 2013. They missed the playoffs 15 and 16. They fired him.
Right.
He'd been there he came in what, 2007? Because 2006 was Dave Lewis, right? Or am I missing it?
I thought he came in 2010. No,
no.
It was the year after they got Chara, so it had to have been
7. Then it was been 7 because they got him in 06, I think.
Right, because Dave Lewis was that first coach, and then so I mean, it's not like he wasn't there for a long time, and it's not like he didn't do wonderful things with the Bruins, but I mean, I could see. I was mad when they fired Claude
I
Julien,
think, unfortunately,
don't talk to Maria about that.
No, I know.
But she gets. You'll get her going. Well, you'll never hear.
No, I'm not even going to. But I think what the unfortunate part of the narrative, from the organizational standpoint, and it's not just us that have talked about this on the podcast, when it comes to the coaches, is that there's a perception out there that if things don't go right in this organization, that the first domino to fall will be the coach. And I think part of that goes back to, when Bruce Cassidy was here. Now, there were stories written about and stories told about how hard he was on some of the younger players. He was critical of players, both amongst their peers and then openly to the media, to the extent that some of the leaders on the team had to have a conversation with Bruce to say, listen, come on, can you tone it down a little bit? You don't have to dress guys down publicly and openly. So, so then there was the narrative that came about with that, there were some, I don't want to say babies, but players that were unable to take constructive criticism from the coach. So it's just been a narrative that is somewhat built up over the firing of these coaches.
I agree and I disagree. Okay. And so my thing is that with Bruce Cassidy, I don't think he was there long enough. And, I think that I don't believe that players have the right to demand a change, right?
I agree with you.
Now, but that's a double-edged sword, because I also applauded the players when the unfortunate incident of that signing of that player, who I will not name his name.
Yes.
Because the players weren't asked about that. And then they went to management and said, we don't want him in our locker room, basically.
Yeah. So that's different. I mean, that's different. And there's an extreme circumstance,
right. So 100%.
Yeah. Time and place kind of situation.
Right. Now, I don't know if you realize this. I'm not a Jake DeBrusk fan. I never have been.
Oh, music to my ears.
So for me, my thing with Jake DeBrusk, and it's kind of like I had this relationship with Milan Lucic too.
Mm.
When they wanted to play,
they played.
They were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
When they didn't feel like skating, you could tell.
Yeah.
You could
I used
tell.
to say that Lucic had a bucket of cement in his skates on those nights.
Right. And you could tell
Yeah.
if Luch was moving his feet.
Correct. He was like a freight train.
He was
like
Cam
a
Neal.
freight train. Yeah.
He was Cam Neal.
Yeah. But I could see it from the balcony. I'd say to my son, this guy does not want to move his goddamn feet tonight. And you know what I would do if I was the coach?
Bench him.
See you later. You're not going to skate. I'm done.
So, okay. But again, if a coach benches a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many Bruins fans then go after the coach, not the player?
Well, it depends on the player, right? Because look at what happened with Morgan Geekie versus Trent Frederick. I mean, us on the pod maybe 2 years ago, we were fans of Trent Frederick. He was moving in the right direction with his stats and his game. And then, for the final season and a little bit of change, completely stagnant. You've got these two players who were at the time, at the start of the season, probably arguably similar place in the lineup where they belonged, right? Bottom six, middle six, what have you. Montgomery benches Geekie. Geekie, I don't know, takes it to heart, does whatever, had to come to Jesus, off to the races.
Right.
Nobody, whether it was Montgomery or Sacco, nobody ever benched Frederick, and he maintained a lackluster contribution to the team the entire season. Regardless if you think he should have been benched or not, I think there was more to him because we have seen him give more, do more. If it worked for Geekie, why not do it for Frederick? And in that case, it's almost like the opposite. I think nobody probably really complained about Geekie at the time being benched because he was having a terrible run. So it did a great thing. So if you wanted to see improvement, then by that logic in Frederick, why did nobody ever bench this guy? Why did nobody ever scratch this guy?
Because Montgomery benched Pasternak in a game. Benched Pasternak in a game.
And he deserved it, though. Pasta deserved it in that game.
But who got raked over the coals? Not Pasternak.
But he should have. Like, we on this pod were like, yeah, he was being terrible. He should have been.
I think if you ask a group of seasoned Bruins fans, and I mean Boston sports fans in general, who I think, they're very committed to their teams, they're very passionate about their teams, they're very loyal, and for the most part, we're well educated fans. And I think there are instances where you can tell the differences in when you see, right? Caroline's perfect example. We're all saying here, okay, we get why Morgan Geekie was benched as well. He should have been benched.
Deserved that.
Why isn't that lesson being carried forward to Trent Frederick, who's basically not been an effective player in any way, shape, or form? Those are the things that make you go, I don't understand what the distinction is here right now.
But nobody's going to confuse even the casual fan. I can't imagine, but then again, I don't know. I'm crazy, maybe, that some casual fan is going to equate their outrage with Pasta being benched to someone like Trent Frederick being benched.
No, but there are some fans that believed that Mikulov deserved to be in the lineup over Geekie last season. There are some
heard that line.
Yeah, we've heard. Yeah,
we've heard that.
I mean, so, and I've had this conversation so many times, right?
Yeah.
Up until last season, take last season and throw it away because
please burn it to the ground.
Even the season after the historic season, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Who is Fabian Lysell pushing out of that lineup? Because you don't want Fabian Lysell on your third or fourth line. If you're going to give him that opportunity, he needs to be in. He could do some third line minutes, but he should be on your second line, right?
Yeah.
And who is he pushing out? Charlie Coyle, Brad Marchand,
right?
He's not pushing them out. He's not pushing out Pavel Zacha. He's not pushing out Morgan Geekie. He's not pushing out David Pastrnak, right? And those were the forwards that people thought like that's where he would be placed, right?
Right.
So, and another thing is too, is that people are like, let's talk. I'm going to bring in Brad Marchand, right? He wasn't having that great of a year in Boston.
Right.
And then he was injured when he was traded, right?
Yeah.
He came alive in Florida. Yes, number one, he was healthy. Number two, he was playing third line minutes.
So
He's not a third liner in Boston.
Right.
He's not, he was on the second power play unit in Florida. He was barely on the penalty kill because you know what I mean? He was an add-on.
He was a specialist, so to speak. He had one job.
But in Boston, it's Pastrnak and Marchand. Those were the two offensive weapons. So you compare what he did. So people are like, oh my God, they should have gotten so much more from him. Well, he wasn't showing that in Boston, number one. Number two, he was injured. You didn't even know if he was going to come back. And they did him a solid by sending him to Florida.
Right. This is a good point that I want to continue on where it comes to almost, roster construct and the fact that, we seen management sometimes is trying to put players in roles that they are not suited for. But so I want to continue this conversation. We're going to take a quick ad break and then we're going to pick up where we left off.
Sounds good.
All right, Bruins fans, if you're thinking about picking up some new gear, now's the time. I'm already planning to grab a fresh Pastrnak jersey this fall. Who knows? Maybe he's rocking a new letter on the front. The NHL shop is running tons of season-ending and summer sales right now, including 20% off Fanatics gear. And here's the best part. When you shop through our link in the show notes, a portion of your purchases helps support this podcast. Same gear you'd find at the pro shop, but with way better perks. So stock up, save big, and help keep Bruins Tape to Tape rolling all year long.
Hey, Bruins fans, love the pod? Well, here's an opportunity to join the team. Become a friend of the pod on Patreon and unlock more Bruins content, merch perks, and the community we've built with diehard fans like you. For just $3 a month, join Gallery of the Gods. Get ad-free episodes, sticker swag, and a discount in the merch shop. Or go full legend with the black and gold tier. Bonus content, virtual watch parties, more swag, and full access to our Substack. No matter the tier, you're in the room with us. Tap the link in the show notes and take your spot on the bench. No, because I think this is really good conversation because I think it feeds nicely into getting your thoughts on the Bruins free agency and what they signed and who they signed, because I'm trying to wrap my head around, trying to understand how they're trying to construct their roster. Okay. And I have brought this up on more than one occasion. I'm not sure when this problem will ever be solved because it seems to be an age-old problem for the Boston Bruins. And I'm in agreement with you, Gayle, that this organization wants to build and has built their teams from the back end of the house forward. Okay, great. But you still need to score one more goal than the other team. And I don't understand, after all of these years, we have still not addressed the lack of secondary scoring on this team. And I don't see where it has been addressed yet this season, based on what we know right now about who is currently listed as a rostered member of the Boston Bruins. So I would like to get your thoughts on that and how your grade on their free agency.
Oh boy.
Is it going to make you feel better if you hear that me, the nice one, gave them a D+? I don't know if it'll make you feel better or no.
Yeah. So I did grade them on What's Bruins. So yeah, I have my grade in mind. I think you're a little evil.
No, you think I'm evil?
Yeah.
Look, I'm the stats person. I dig deep, and I'm like, I don't see the vision.
She's like the analytics queen.
I don't see the vision.
I just view what comes to my, the top of my head. I look at the player, I look at the stats, I look at the term, I look at the contract, and I say, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
This is exactly why we bring on other folks who have different perspectives. Tell me, what am I missing? What am I not seeing here? What's the vision?
Okay.
Lay it on us. So who do you think, do they have an idea in mind for who can plug some of those offensive holes? Because
it can't be just Geeky and Pasta again this season. It simply can't.
There's still only one line.
So I've been preaching this since coming out of the trade deadline. The Elias Lindholm we saw down the stretch is the Elias Lindholm we're going to see next season.
Yeah,
he put up phenomenal numbers.
They were fun to watch. They were fun to watch.
They were fun to watch.
Only one line.
The only fun thing to watch was them at the end.
Remember, he was that player when he had Gaudreau and Kachuk. Now he's got Pasta and Geeky.
Yes,
he's going to be that player. Now he's a combination of David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron. He's never going to be Patrice Bergeron. He's never going to be David Krejci. He's a combination of both. He can take those face-offs, and he can also dish the puck. And he can also shoot the puck, right? So I think that top line is obviously going to be the one that gets the majority of the scoring. I think it also takes pressure off of Pavel Zacha. I think Zacha on the wing with Middlestat in the middle and Arvidsson on the other side is going to drive that secondary scoring that they've been lacking. Zacha plays better when he's on the wing than he did on the center because he's not driving the play. He's not worried about where he's going with the puck. He's worried about where he's going to receive the puck. And I think we saw him put up better numbers when he wasn't the one dishing the puck, when he was the one he was the one collecting it. And I think we're going to see a little bit different things from Middlestat this year in his first full season in a Bruins uniform. And I think Arvidsson, I think a lot of people don't realize that when he played for the Kings, Marcus Sturm was an assistant coach.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they have that relationship. And again, I'm not saying if he puts up 20 goals, I'm happy with that. Because look at the Bruins notoriously. They have one goal scorer, David Pastrnak, right? 30 goals, 40 goals, 50 goals, whatever. And then they have a slew of players that put up 20 goals.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, you look at Edmonton, for the longest time, it was just Connor McDavid and then Draisaitl. You know what I mean? When they started spreading out their offense was when they started. The Capitals is another one. Ovechkin can score, but if you don't have those 20 goal scorers around them, it doesn't matter because they're going to learn to, You can give Pasternak 50 goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you don't have those other players scoring 15 to 20 goals, it doesn't matter.
So do you think, so one thing we talked about in our episode last week when we were kind of going down, like, okay, who's even on this team anymore? What are these lineups that we think would be what we see? I had made a comment saying, I don't know enough about Middlestat, right? We only saw him for 20 games. It's kind of really hard to get a sense. And of course, the locker room was a hot mess. I said, I think for me to feel good about that second line, at minimum, I want to see.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
40 to 50 goals from that line. So again, you're looking at 20 goal scorer and maybe a combination, 10 and 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
In your opinion, then, do you feel from what you've seen that that's a reasonable expectation that we could see come out of that second line?
100%.
Good.
100%.
All right. I'm happy.
And then I
convinced. Show over. No.
Are you going to change your grade now, you evil woman?
Yeah, I will. Yes. Because this is what we're all about, right? Learning more and hearing other things to change our opinions.
And one of the things that, and Mark Recchi and I had this great conversation right before he did the alumni game.
Mm-hmm.
I said, a lot of people were down on the Bruins signing Zadorov, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a penalty. He takes so many penalties.
Yeah.
He's a monster. He is an absolute beast, right?
He turns around and he's committed a penalty.
Right. But towards, again, down the stretch,
different Nikita Zadorov. And
our opinion
changed. That was the guy I expected to see all season long because I was excited about the signing.
So was I. So, I think, like, I equate him kind of to Nick Foligno, right? Nick Foligno's first season in Boston, people were with pitchforks. Get him. Why did the Bruins sign him? And then his second season, he's Uncle Nick. Everyone loves him, right?
Yep.
He knows the system. He got comfortable in Boston. He knew his teammates. We saw a different Nick Foligno.
Yes.
Down the stretch last year, we saw a different Nikita Zadorov.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, it didn't, I hate to say it, but it helped that McAvoy wasn't there and Lindholm wasn't there. And they traded away Brandon Carlo.
He had to step up.
He had no choice.
Right?
And he showed leadership. Yeah, and he showed leadership on the ice, off the ice, and post game.
Right. Okay. So, but one of the things that Don Sweeney said in his press conference after he signed Nikita Zadorov is, we are building our team for the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. I knew what he meant.
Yeah.
But I asked Mark Recchi to explain it. I said, explain it to me when a team is built for the playoffs.
Right.
And Mark Recchi's direct quote is, when you're playing the same team in a 7-game series, that physicality, who wants to face that physicality in a 7-game series?
Night after night.
Night after night. The Bruins didn't have it that historic season against Florida. Florida had it.
Yep.
Right?
And that's what did the Maple Leafs in against Florida.
They could only go against the Bruins.
Them, the first 3, 2 or 3 games. And then after that, you could see that the Maple Leafs were getting beat down and beat down and beat down. And nobody wants to play like that night after night after
7
night.
games.
And why were the Bruins so successful in 2011?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that back end.
Sarah, Seidenberg, Johnny
Boychuk.
Boychuk. You know what I mean?
Adam McQuaid.
Right.
Andrew Ferentz even. All those guys.
Now you have on your back end, when they're healthy, Charlie McAvoy, Hampus Lindholm, Nikita Zadorov.
Yep.
Andrew Peak.
Yep.
And now you've added Yoki Haru. You know what I mean? And Mason Lohrei is your non-physical presence that can move the puck and jump up in the play. You know what I mean? So that's why when the Bruins build from the back end out, yes, they'll get their scoring. But do you really want to face Nikita Zadorov, Tanner Jeannot, Mark Kastelik, Sean Corrali, those physical players, night in after night out, night in after night out. And then, oh, by the way, if you do get past them, now you've got to beat Jeremy Swayman.
Right.
Let me ask you about the Tanner Jeannot.
I was going to say, let's talk about him.
That raised a lot of hackles, including my own. Okay. It's, I mean, the money, maybe a little bit, but the term.
Yeah. I wasn't happy with the term.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was more down on the term than it was the money. 3.4 is no big deal to me.
Right.
You know, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But then I thought about it and I'm like, all right, he's your third and fourth line.
Right.
He's a leader. And I know like the teams that he's played on are not known for their physicalness, right?
Right.
He came from Tampa, was one of the teams that he played for. Tampa's not a physical team. Tampa's more of a finesse team.
Yes.
He's going to fit better in this Bruins system. And oh, by the way, he'll get those dirty goals in front of the net.
Yeah.
Because he'll go in front of the net.
Yeah.
He'll clear out the crease to get the puck, behind the goaltender, the opposing goaltender.
But see, this is what I'm afraid of, right? Yeah. Because I went into last season wanting to see that from our defensive core. Because I thought to myself, finally, we've got monsters.
Yeah.
Playing on the back end. So we've moved away from what I used to refer to as Smurfs on the back end. And now we've got beasts playing back there. And it didn't translate.
But it didn't translate for a couple of reasons. One, okay, I know people are like, oh, they're athletes. They're used to being moved around. First of all, Zadorov was in Calgary and Vancouver. They play completely different style of game than Boston.
Yeah.
And if you've watched Zadorov in the playoffs, he's like David Krejci playoff. You know what I mean? Like everyone would say, where's David Krejci in the regular season?
Right. There's playoff Krejci.
Right? Playoff Krejci. So I'm not saying Zadorov's going to put up the numbers, but he's going to shut down the opposing teams.
Yeah.
I think it was almost a crutch having McAvoy and Lindholm.
Yes.
Because I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a 10-year vet, a 9-day rookie. Coming into a new system, you have to build that chemistry.
Yeah. Well, and we talk a lot about on this podcast about how like a team is like an office space, right? You think about, you know, let's say you get hired as a new director of an office at your company. It can be maybe a little intimidating to just be like, all right, everyone, you all have to now do exactly everything this way. Like it doesn't work that way, right? You have to come in, you have to learn the culture, you have to learn how do I communicate with people? How do I kind of get them to do the things that I need them to do, especially people who are maybe my peers or higher up, right? So, I mean, that makes sense. And you brought up a great point that I kind of forgot about when it came to Uncle Nick about how terrible his first season was. I did forget about that. So thank you for reminding us. My concern with Tanner Jeannot, and again, when you're in a new work environment, maybe the fit is going to be better. Maybe you'll do better in a different environment because we talk about that a lot.
Morgan Geekie is the perfect example of that.
Yes. My concern with Tanner Jeannot is, again, because I'm the stats person, looking at his career, it seems like for his entire professional career at the NHL level, he seems to have consistently fall short of expectation. You know, when you're looking at just straight statistics, because again, this is a guy who I haven't really watched much of because he was with teams that I don't really care about. But, they would say, okay, his individual expected goals was 20 and he scored 6. Like, that's a huge difference, right? We're not talking about just a couple of different goals. Like, the last time he had a 20-plus goal season was in 2021 with Nashville. Like, that was a while ago. And the fact that he's been traded twice in 2 years, like, he's getting bounced around. Like, okay, now I'm getting a little concerned. Like, what's wrong with this guy? So, how do you convince me, make me feel better, Gayle, and make me feel better about this guy?
Well, it's not just the team in the location, it's also the line mates, right?
True. Yeah.
So, because Jake DeBrusk didn't perform well until he played with Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand.
They lifted him. Mm-hmm.
He had his skill. His skill was the same. He should have been performing whether he was on the third line or the second line.
Correct.
Fair.
Right?
Very fair.
I agree with you.
Fair.
And I think that's why there's frustration with the players, the like of a Jake DeBrusk or even a Trent Frederick. It's like you're in the NHL because you have skill and talent. Okay? Nobody just walks onto an NHL team if they don't have skills and talent.
Mm-hmm.
And the frustrating part is, why aren't you elevating yourself as opposed to needing other players to elevate you, especially in my view, when you're in a contract year? If this is where, and when I say this, whatever team you're on, if this is where you want to be, you need to show your bosses
how to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah.
That you're worthy of being there.
But that was part of the reason why I was okay with Jake DeBrusk leaving.
Yes, that was a whole...
No.
Because
I have no problem with him leaving because I'm not sure he was ever going to be that person here.
So it's really funny, too, because I was on the get Sagan out of here train. Okay? Because Sagan, to me, cared more about Sagan. Now, he is matured, and he is the player he should have been with Dell. And I'm glad. I'm glad that he matured and he turned into the player that was drafted second overall. You know what I mean? I'm glad he turned into that player.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was in Boston, he had so much immaturity and he only cared about Sagan instead of the spoke to be on his chest.
Yes.
And that's the difference. And Phil Kessel was the same way.
Yeah.
Phil Kessel cared more about the name on the back of the jersey than he did on the front, to quote, the illustrious USA former coach. And I can't think of his name.
Herb Brooks.
Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. I'm like,
I remember going to that draft
Kessel was
viewing.
The same way.
Yeah. I remember going to the draft viewing party.
Yeah.
For the Taylor Hall, Tyler Sagan sweepstakes. And I kept saying to my son, God, I just want Taylor Hall's stock to drop a little bit because I want him to go to number 2 and let Sagan go to number 1 because I had myself convinced that Taylor Hall would have been a better fit in a Bruins uniform from day 1
would have been a better fit.
And I actually said that to Taylor Hall when I ran into him in Nashville because we went to the game. And I said, can I tell you a secret? He said, sure. And I said, I wanted your stock to drop because I wanted you over Tyler Sagan.
A lot of people obviously wanted Taylor Hall over Tyler Sagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's collecting original 6 teams like they're Infinity Stones. So I don't know what that means.
That's awesome.
So
as far as I think that the expectations when he comes to Boston is going to be a little bit different. And I know a lot of...
I feel bad for new guys.
But I know that some people are going to put, some analysts are going to be like, he's going to score 20 goals. I'm okay if he puts up 30 points. I'm okay if he puts up 10 goals and 20 assists because he's going to be in the bottom 6. I'm okay with 30.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think he can do that. I think he can do that because I think his role in Boston is going to be different than the teams that, you know, and again, it's the same thing. You look at Brad Marchand. He's going to have better statistics, point per game in Florida because his wear and tear is going to, the pressure's not on him in Florida. It's on Kachuk. It's on Barkov. It's on Verhaeghe. It's on Bennett. It's on those guys. It's not on Brad Marchand. In Boston, it was on Brad Marchand.
And you raise a good point. I hope that after the abomination that happened last season, that one of the many lessons learned is, can we please just put players in positions and roles where you are going to potentially get the most return on the investment that you've made in the player. Right. Stop playing players on their off wing, or if they're a wing and you put them at center, can we please stop doing that?
Well, they're trying to do, a lot of people are putting Patra, not the Bruins, but a lot of people are trying to put Patra on the wing. He's not a winger. He's a center.
Yeah.
You know, and I know they want him to play with Minton, and I know they want to form this line.
Right.
He played his best hockey at center with Merck and Lysell on his wings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he is your next David Krejci.
Yep.
He's not Patrice Bergeron. I don't think the Bruins will Elias Lindholm is closer to Patrice Bergeron because of his face-off statistics.
Yes.
But
that was
no
the
one
one thing he still had.
No one's gonna be.
No. I used to hear this about franchise-altering defensemen, like the Cale Makars and the Victor Hedman. Those guys don't grow up. They don't grow on trees. And Patrice Bergeron doesn't grow on a tree. You've got to cultivate that.
And I know that a lot of people love Charlie I like Charlie McAvoy too. As an all-around defenseman, I put Hampus Lindholm ahead of him.
Yeah, I like him.
I think he's more well-rounded than McAvoy. But I think McAvoy, if he's a stay-at-home defenseman, he's a phenomenal shutdown defenseman.
Yeah. Hampus gives you a little bit more of the offense.
Hampus has that. I can't even think of any other defenseman that the Bruins have had in recent years that had that well-rounded power play, keen sense, saw the ice as well as Hampus Lindholm does.
Yep.
As friend of the pod, letdown defensemen.
Yeah.
Tara, Seidenberg, Boychuk, McQuaid. They've had those shutdown defensemen. Even Carlo, he saw the ice really well, but he didn't have the skill that Hampus Lindholm has.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I love Brandon Carlo. Like, I was more upset they traded Brandon Carlo than I was Brad Marchand, Charlie Coyle, Trent Frederick. Just because to me, Carlo, number one, was one of their best defensive penalty killers.
Yeah.
And number two, he fit anywhere in the top in any defensive pairing.
Yeah.
So to me, that was more disheartening to see him go, especially to Toronto.
I can't believe it.
So Gayle, how you can share your grade if you want, but what is your assessment of the Bruins free agency ventures?
And are you grading on a curve because of the lack of availability? We need to.
I did grade a little bit on a curve because I never thought that they would get Mitch Marner.
We didn't want him.
I wanted him. I did. I wanted him because I think Marner would have had more. He would have less pressure in Boston than he did in Toronto, number one. Number two, he's more skilled than any of the Bruins' bottom 9 forwards.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think because that core 4 in Toronto, his fault, he's the one that gets all the blame.
Yes, 100%. For me, I didn't want him not because
Matthews, not Nylander, not Tavares. It was all on Marner.
It was.
It was all on Marner. And anyone that didn't want him on their team, and I'm not saying you guys, but like I knew that the Bruins couldn't afford him, number one.
No.
And he landed where he needed to. Can you imagine him and Eichel? I mean, come on.
I know.
They're going to make magic together.
It's going to be
I think
crazy.
he's going to be in a situation similar to like, what you were talking about with Marchand, right? He's going to be in a place where the expectations are different. Mm-hmm. He was going to go west no matter what, because I think out west, especially heading southwest, the fan and media pressure is significantly less.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't wanting him to necessarily come to Boston because of A, the baggage, and B, I think when it comes to sports media in the United States, Boston is a tough place to be, I think.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Toronto's worse.
Well, that's Canada. Yeah. But for the United States.
I think Toronto's definitely one of the worst. Toronto is definitely one of the worst. League-wide, not even just in Canada, league-wide.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at Boston media versus New York media, and even like,
do they even care about their hockey team? Come on.
But if you look at this, division, just look at this division.
Yep.
Why do I have balloons?
I think because you waved.
Is it because it's our 100th? You're giving us
giving us
so, Gayle. Thank you. That's so kind of you.
Like, why am I balloons?
It's just so bizarre.
I think if you look at just this division, Florida, Tampa Bay, Boston, Ottawa, who am I missing? Montreal
and
Buffalo.
Toronto. Oh, Buffalo. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. You look at this division. Who's the worst?
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I think the fan bases are just, it's our fan base here and our sports talk radio shows here. And again, players can say all they want, that they don't hear it. They shut out the noise, but that doesn't mean that members of their family or their friends are not listening, that will text them and say, hey, do you know what this a-hole on 98.5 just said about you or about the team? Right? That's where I think it becomes problematic sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you look at who is available, who actually signed somewhere else.
Right.
I mean, technically Marner got traded.
Right.
Signed in Toronto, then they traded him. Bennett signed with Florida. I mean, pretty much everyone there wasn't a lot of movement.
No.
The biggest moves weren't really shocking, right?
No.
So this free agent class was yeah, I will grade a little bit on the curve for that. Given what Sweeney did in the draft, and I know that a lot of people like all he did was bring in bottom six. Yes and no.
Right.
They traded for Victor Soderstrom.
Really?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah. You just came up quickly. Yep.
So they traded for him and then they signed him.
Yep.
And they got him for cheap money too.
Oh, yeah. That's nothing. $775 for the year.
Right. So.
Oh, he's a UFA Group 6. Okay, he's 24. He's a kid. So what is he, like their 7th, 8th defenseman?
He's probably the 7th and can push out someone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. He has the opportunity to push someone out. No, he's not going to push out Hampus Lindholm, Zadorov, McAvoy. He's not going to push them out, but he could possibly push out Lowry. He could possibly push out Peak. You know what I mean? Like and Peak only has 1 year left. So you know what I mean? Like, so I give Sweeney credit for seeing that and bringing him. I give the Bruins, and it was funny because Chris and I did our grades, and I gave them a C+.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't quite at the B because he still didn't bring in a top 6. You know what I mean? I know that Arvidsson possibly, but that wasn't, again, free agency. That was a trade.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I think that, and I know a lot of people tell me that I'm stupid, and okay, maybe I am. But I think a healthy Lindholm, a healthy Swayman, a healthy Lindholm, healthy McAvoy.
Yeah.
You got to remember, Mark Kaslik missed a ton of time.
Yeah.
At the end, he
wasn't the same after that concussion.
Right. You know, and I just think that, and I know that they didn't bring in the elite goal scorer. There was no one to bring in.
True.
There was no one to bring in. So you have to account for that. I don't think that the Bruins are going to battle for the top of the division. I think they're going to battle for a wild card spot. And I think that who's closer to the playoffs?
Yeah.
The Bruins, Buffalo, the Bruins, Ottawa, you know what I mean? Who's closer? The Bruins or Pittsburgh? You know what I mean? Who's closer to a playoff spot?
Yeah.
I give the edge to the Bruins because I think, again, being built from the back end out is going to bode them well without having that elite goal scorer to be with Pasternak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, they have a solid top line. And I want to see Sturm roll that line out to begin the season. And I'd like to see Zacha with Middlestat, with Arvidsson. You know, I want to see those lines roll out, and I want to see the chemistry, and I don't want to see 2 games and then break up the line.
I think you're right. You can't do that again. You've got to let relationships build and develop. You know, they've got, I mean, this preseason stuff for these veteran players is really, you know, it's not as fruitful to try and do that during preseason. It's the real game time stuff where you've got to give them.
No, your preseason, in my personal opinion, your preseason, you need to play your prospects to see which one of them can handle the minutes. They can see the ice. And, you know, you sprinkle in some of your veterans, not necessarily like, do you put Lysell with Pasternak? Yeah, put him with them. Just see what his hockey IQ is with a player like that. You know what I mean? Put him with Zacha. See what his hockey IQ is with a player like that. Put Merck with some of those players instead of putting them with just, Mitten or, just Kaslik or Johnny Beecher. Put them with the players to see how much they truly have developed their hockey IQ in the preseason. I'm not saying put them, you know what I mean? Because then you see what they do in the preseason. You're still not playing all NHL teams, right?
Right.
So but you can see a little bit more of where they're at versus just training camp. Seeing them in game action against NHL goalies instead of, AHL goalies, which I'm not 100% sold that DiPietro's ready for the NHL. I've had this battle with so many people. People tell me I'm stupid, that they should trade Korpisalo and DiPietro should be. And I'm like, no.
Because Corpy was great.
Korpisalo should get 30 to 35 games.
Yes.
Swayman should get close, and if Swayman gets 48 games versus 52 games, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? But I don't think the workload is why Swayman faltered last year. I still 100% it's the training camp thing.
Yeah.
But DiPietro has not proven that he can play in the NHL.
No.
And would you rather have Korpisalo as your backup? That if Swayman because people are like, well, what if Swayman gets hurt?
That's what Korpisalo is for.
Number one goaltender.
Right.
He was arguably better.
Oh, he was better than Swayman.
Swayman. Like, he was more reliable.
I know. There were instances he was better.
Split up the duties.
Yeah, absolutely.
Split up the duties more. But
I think
into this season,
Swayman's
Swayman's going to take that net back.
100%.
I 100% believe Swayman's going to take that. And then if Korpisalo is playing great, and if DiPietro's still performing down in the AHL, then Korpisalo becomes trade bait at the trade deadline.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You can get more for him.
You got to show him
other
off.
Teams are going to be like, we need better goaltending. So you're
Yeah.
going to get more for him than you would in the offseason.
100%.
How many
Because
times
right now
do you
they're
think
going,
Edmonton will call the Bruins this year?
right, because
Okay.
especially if Swayman's performing, then they're going to be like, listen, you don't need Korpisalo.
Right.
We need a number one.
Mhm.
We'll give you this, this, and this. You know what I
Right.
mean? So in Sweeney, I don't care what anyone says, Sweeney is the best when it comes to trades.
Yeah,
No,
I think
I have said
yeah.
that. I think he's great at
he
hockey
does
trades.
good. Yes.
I think he's great at hockey trades. There are other areas where I think he has weaknesses, but we're, almost an hour and a half into this
We've
now,
run
so
out of
we
time.
can have this discussion at another time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well,
Well,
hopefully we can continue our conversation with you in future episodes and convos on and offline, because it's always a lot of fun for us to talk hockey with someone who's just as passionate about the game as we are. Like, we've got strong opinions, and we love to debate them and argue them. I mean, Maria and I aren't always on the same side when it comes to, certain things that we see, and it's more fun that way.
It is. Chris and I argue all the time
too much.
Yeah. I mean, if you get along on everything, why would people want to listen to you?
Right.
No,
right.
right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Well, I have to say, because I did forget to grade on the curve, and hearing your arguments, I would amend my end of year report card to be a C.
Okay.
Because I'm a little bit broken from last season, so I'm not fully ready to just place all of my trust in what some of these players can do. I want to see. So I hope you're right. I want to see those greasy goals, right, from Tanner Jeannot. We haven't had a guy like that in a while, so let's hope we get that. And I'm in 100% agreement about Swayman and our top line. Let's just hope we get more from those other guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna keep my grade where it was, which if you think shit is evil, you're gonna think I'm like the devil incarnate. However,
she gave him a D. Look, we're angry and we're bitter, Gayle. Okay, we're angry and bitter right now.
Yes.
Still in mourning. We're having a hard time, okay?
Okay.
Last year left scars.
Oh,
scars.
It did.
A few scars here and there, but plenty of content, though, I might say.
Yes,
Plenty
for sure.
of content, for sure. We weren't, there was no shortage of things to talk about last season, as I'm sure there won't be this season, because, this is a reset. I don't know what the organization is calling it. Retool, rebuild. Very different. All different.
Not 100% rebuild. I would go with a retool.
Retool, I think is. So
Pittsburgh,
they
is a rebuild.
They are giving themselves the benefit with the fan base.
Yeah,
in at least acknowledging that this is a retool, right? So we have tempered expectations. What we want to see is development, growth, and the reestablishment of an identity for this team.
Yep.
100%.
That's the big stuff. But
they've also kind of lost their identity when they lost Bergeron and Krejci too. Not just, I know it was Brad's team, but like, how many players were actually still there?
Right. He was the end of that era. He was the last.
That core that I had been calling them a core for a while.
Yeah.
It's
new age.
He was the last man standing of that core.
Yeah. Yep. But Gayle, where can folks find you these
tell
days?
us where.
So on X and Blue Sky, everything is at Gayle_Troiani, which is on my name. If you're watching, on my name here. If not, you can also find me at the Troiani Rink Report on Substack and WordPress. Mm-hmm. You can find some of my older articles on NESN.com, but search me and Bruins on NESN and my stories will come up.
Yes, they do.
And if you're on Facebook, you can find Troiani Rink Report, which will then has all of my articles, past, present, and future.
Oh, awesome! That's good to know.
Yeah,
I didn't know that the Facebook aspect of it. So, again, thank you so much. This has been really insightful.
Thank you for having me. I had fun.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to be a more kind of pragmatic, have more of a pragmatic approach.
No, you won't. No, listen,
you're right, I won't.
She says this today, and then we're going to do our player reviews in August, and she's going to be like, who the hell is this guy? Why did we sign him? $5 million? Are you out of your mind?
That's awesome. Yeah, no, my glass is always half full. I know some people will tell me to take off my black and gold glasses. I don't have black and gold glasses because there are players that I don't want to see on the Bruins.
Yeah.
That are currently on the Bruins, but there's nothing. I'm not management, so it's not.
Right.
And there's.
I don't think you have black and gold glasses on. I think, it's refreshing and insightful to hear someone else's opinion because it gives you something. I never thought of it that way. I didn't look at it that way. Right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yes.
Congratulations on 100 episodes, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you for the balloons earlier. That was really cool.
I don't know how I got the balloons before.
It's like you had a magic wand of some sort in there.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks everyone for listening. You can always find us, of course, on all of our socials at Tape to Tape MK. Make sure you're subscribed to the Substack. And if you're interested in ad-free listening, we have our Patreon live right now. Make sure you check out our show notes. And as always, go Bees.
Go Bees.